Welcome back, you're watching Channel 4 News. Now, if you haven't heard of Spearmint Rhino, then Max Clifford hasn't been doing his job. Rhino is the high-class American strip club that you can trust your husband to, if you believe the hype, and women are invited too. The chain's enjoyed astonishing success since the first club opened in the UK 2 years ago. Already there are 6 clubs, 3 in London and the South East, others in Birmingham, Bournemouth and Harrogate, and others due to open in Leeds. But doubts are growing about Rhino and its flamboyant boss, John Gray. On Friday, Glasgow proposed a ban on lap dancing clubs. In a special report for Channel 4 News, Adrian Gatton reveals all.
This is Spearmint Rhino, the American lap dancing chain coming to a neighbourhood near you. They call it the respectable face of stripping. With 6 clubs here already, they've lodged licence applications all over Britain. They promise us 100 clubs. This is the man behind Spearmint Rhino, lap dancing tycoon and Californian entrepreneur John Gray. With Max Clifford handling the PR, he's scored acres of good publicity. And he thinks big. Spearmint Rhino on the London Stock Exchange.
The opportunity to take the company public in the UK is very keen in interest to us. We're going to be very, very well appreciated there.
I'm Adrian Gatton. I've been following the fortunes of John Gray and Spearmint Rhino for a while now. I've been surprised at how little is known about the company by the councils that have given them licenses.
We're going to be very, very well appreciated there because they're going to appreciate the professionalism that we bring to the table and doing what we say we're going to do and abiding by laws and regulations.
So John Gray knowingly committed fraud against the US government?
Yes, he did. We make sure that no indecent, lewd, or lascivious acts occur on the premises. It's against our policy and procedure. If we could, we wouldn't. We don't want that.
What would your message be to potential investors that Gray is approaching in the United Kingdom?
Don't do it. Walk away.
Welcome to the Spearmint Rhino Companies, the world's premier chain of upscale, elegant gentlemen's clubs.
Spearmint Rhino wants to be a brand, with clubs from Moscow to Vegas. John Gray says his clubs are better run than many of the others. No porn, no sleaze. Glossy videos like this are designed to entice British customers and investors, but the reality is very different.
If I lived next door to any of their venues, I would want the law toughened up before they started running anything.
Gray's flagship club is in Frank Dobson's constituency. It's already run into trouble for breaching a voluntary code of conduct, and the council has refused to renew its licence. John Gray says his clubs are well run, but Camden Police have said
activity within the club, intentionally or otherwise, borders on offences of prostitution and permitting the keeping of a brothel.
The club is appealing. I asked Gray's vice president if this was a big setback for his boss's ambitions.
John had to be called away. He's actually in LA at the moment.
Right.
As you've got to remember, we are a multinational company. There are 31 Spearmint Rhinos in the US, one in Moscow. We're opening one in Australia. We're opening one in Paris.
Right.
There are 6 in the UK. I should think there are far more pressing matters in the States.
I wondered what those pressing matters were, so I came to Southern California, home to the world's hustlers and wannabes, and Spearmint Rhino. I hit the phones. I wanted to investigate the claims made in John Gray's carefully crafted publicity. After all, image is everything if you're going to take Britain by storm. This was an ad for Spearmint Rhino, promoting their clubs in the UK. But this lingerie model is suing Spearmint Rhino because she's not a stripper. The girls on these billboards are all suing too. So these girls aren't his girls. John Gray said he has a $23 million Gulfstream jet. The photo showed it dressed up in Rhino's corporate colours. But the registration number on the tail showed it really belonged to a hotel owner in Kansas. So that plane's not his plane. Gray says he has 31 clubs in the States. Well, I can only find 9 on their website. And to complete the image, John Gray appears to enjoy a lavish lifestyle.
He lives in a $2 million house. He drives Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces and wears expensive watches. You know, I guess those are basically the symbol of his success. And of course, to those who believe they may share that, they may not necessarily be correct in most instances.
It may not be against the law to pretend you're a hotshot, but digging deeper, I found a trail of convictions and past debts. This is Oxnard, a railroad town north of Los Angeles. John Gray helped build this club by writing scores of dud checks. Finally, in 1995, he received a suspended sentence of 6 months, and he repaid the money. His probation period ended only last year, after he'd already arrived in Britain. But just how serious was Gray's offence? In Pasadena, I met Private Eye, Niels Gravilius. He had a thick file on Gray.
Well, it's serious enough, and I'll tell you why. In California, you really have to work hard at getting charged with even a misdemeanor for writing bad checks. You really have to write a lot of them, write them in an egregious fashion sufficient to excite a prosecutor enough to file felony or misdemeanor charges against you. And I see here, looking at these records, that he was charged with felony bad checks.
Well, in judgments alone, just a few elementary searches on records has showed that he's had $338,000 worth of judgments made against him in the last few years.
This man went into business with John Gray and says he got burned. In 1998, his club became a Spearmint Rhino. He says he was promised a 20% stake in return. But what might come as a surprise to British investors is that he hasn't received a cent. He's had to sue. So why did he choose Rhino?
He showed us the club, he showed us the books, he showed us, he showed us everything, which was very, very impressive. They really reeled me in.
But any counsel or business partner wanting to check out John Gray might have a problem, because John Gray has been living a bit of a double life. My searches of court documents showed at least 3 aliases. He's been known as Johnny Wynn, John Luciano, and John Luciano Gianni. And doing a credit check, I found one John L. Gray, deceased. Bizarrely, he appeared to share the same age and addresses as Spearmint Rhino's John Gray. He could run rings around creditors, but he couldn't run from Uncle Sam. Before he came to Britain, John Gray ended up here, in Boron Federal Prison. He defrauded the American government over a Navy building contract. He got 6 months, and this was the 6th criminal offence I'd found with Gray's name attached. Frauds, embezzlement, receiving stolen goods, even carrying a concealed weapon.
We had 3 government agencies, investigative agencies involved, as well as working the case with the U.S. Attorney's Office. And when you have that many agencies involved, and especially dealing with fraud against dealing with the government, dealing with military readiness, we considered it very serious.
John Gray has set himself up in a mansion in Buckinghamshire. Bearing in mind his dealings in the States, I decided to check his business record here. Spearmint Rhino's just filed its first accounts at Company's House, 15 months late. And even though he promised to change it, John Gray continues to enter the wrong birth date. Camden Council said that this could have made it difficult if police had wanted to trace his criminal record, and the accounts contain other surprises. Emil Wolf is a top city forensic accountant. He was shocked at the absence of one of the auditor's most basic sources of evidence.
They've qualified on the basis that they've not been able to confirm the turnover figures in the case of Tottenham Court Road because of the loss of the club till reports, which they say is the primary system for recognising revenue in the accounts. And these have somehow gone missing. They've done the same thing in Birmingham. And between May and November, all the payroll records went missing. So the auditors have qualified, apart from the going concern worries, the auditors have qualified the reports on the inability to know whether the wages and salaries figure was right and whether the turnover was right in Birmingham.
And the first accounts tell another story. Just what is John Gray's financial liability for the main Spearmint Rhino companies in the UK? Companies where he is the sole shareholder.
There's the one line, issued share capital, £1. That is the full extent of what the shareholders in those companies stand to lose if they go under.
John Gray says he wants to float Spearmint Rhino on the stock exchange. How realistic is that?
Well, on the basis of these accounts, that's nothing more than a dream.
Suddenly, Rhino is getting the wrong kind of attention. They've paid £10 to keep the cameras away.
Money paying all this down in front of you. Yeah, all day long. How much they pay you? £10.
But they're getting it all the same. Scottish MPs have tabled a motion to keep Spearmint Rhino out of Scotland, and Blackpool's refused them a licence. But council powers to reject entertainment licences are limited. A criminal record often isn't a bar, and there's no requirement to declare it.
Cheers.
Some MPs want tougher powers in the government's forthcoming white paper on licensing.
I think they need to go further than their stated intentions and make sure that councils both have the power and the duty to check on the reputation of people who are proposing either opening or taking over a club or being the source of finance for it, to make sure that dodgy people are kept out. And certainly you want to make sure that no one involved in the promotion of late night clubs was a person with a criminal record.
John Gray's past may well be catching up with him, but whether it will stop Spearmint Rhino's ambitious expansion plans for 100 clubs remains to be seen.
Adrian Gatton reporting. A reminder of our main headline tonight: drunken football fans have rampaged through the streets of Moscow after Russia's defeat at the hands of Japan in the FIFA World Cup.